Okay, guys. So a little change of pace here. In that the last video that you guys saw with me, um, we did op one of this foot peg mount for my flat track racing motorcycle. The video ended up maybe too long to be able to include op 2 on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys in just a few minutes here op 2 of machining the foot peg mount. What I also did was I had to make a bracket to adapt the foot peg to the foot peg mount. And this bracket I actually made by hand as opposed to CNC machining it. So I wanted to showcase a little bit that, hey, if you don't have, a CNC machine or a manual milling machine, you still can kind of accomplish some metalworking stuff. And what I did was I cut all the material out of the middle of this with a bandsaw, and then went ahead and filed it and sanded it all to shape and size, and then drilled a hole in the center for the foot peg. Okay, so just because we have a CNC machine at the school doesn't mean that you can't also do some metalworking at home with some basic tools. I could have done that with a handsaw. I could have done it with anything, and then just used a file to get everything to the right shape and size. And then, funny enough, the thickness of this piece and the thickness of this piece on the bottom are within a 0.5 thousandth of an inch of one another just by filing it. So pretty impressive that, with some primitive tools you can get pretty close tolerances. Okay, so I will switch over and show you guys machining op 2 of this part, just because the last video was just too long to include that. Our next video next week is going to be a little change of pace. I'm actually going to be doing some lessons with you on my computer. So I'll do a screen share, a screen capture, and do a voiceover and do a few lessons on some critical manufacturing-based topics. Okay, so pay attention for that next week. So I'm going to switch over to show you guys how I did op 2. Okay, we're back here for op 2. So what we're going to do, we're going to get the program loaded into the machine. So we're going to go list program again, make sure we're on USB. We are. I'm going to get down to right peg mount op 2, F2 to copy it to memory. Go over to my memory. Tool 1 is the 3-inch face mill, and then tool 2 is going to be our 1/2 inch end mill, and that's all we're going to need for op 2 of this part. Okay, so move you guys over here so that you can see what I've got set up. All right, so what I've got is there were 2 straight edges on this part that I could pick up on. So I've got those clamped in the vise, and then I did have a little piece hanging off. So what I did, it might be difficult for you guys to see, but I've got 2 1, 2, 3 blocks with a stack up of gauge blocks and a little shim, a little plastic shim to get us to the right height. So this end over here is supported. So it's supported all the way across the part. So what we're going to do is we're going to probe it off the bore of the 1/2 inch diameter hole that I drilled on op 1. That's going to be our origin. So to set that up, we're going to go edit. Okay, we're at VPS. We're going to go back. We'll go to bore, over. The diameter of the bore is 1/2 inch. We don't have an X offset. We don't have a Y offset. We're good. We can generate that code by hitting F4, copying it to our MDI. We'll shut the door. We're going to handle jog that probe to the center of that bore. MDI, cycle start, and it should probe that 1/2 inch diameter bore in for us. Okay, so once again, we want to make sure that we handle jog that probe up out of that bore before we go ahead and do a tool change. We're going to bring in tool 1. I'm going to wipe tool 1 off making sure there's no coolant on it. And I'm going to bring my piece of paper in, and we're going to find tool 1. One thousandths at a time, jogging down until I get the tool to touch the paper. There it is right there. Tool offset measure. T2, MDI ATC forward. I'll wipe that tool off as well. Tool offset measure, bring it back up in Z. Now, the only other thing that we've got to change is our Z offset in our work offsets page. We want that to be negative negative 0.303 or 303 thousandths. I'm going to hit F1 to alter that. We're going to click yes. Okay, so that should bring us to the top of our material here. Again, I'm going to switch you guys to a time lapse on this to show you Op 2 machining, and I'll bring you back live time when the part's finished. Op 2 done. Made the little post on the back side. Got the hat machined off. Okay, so here's our stock foot peg mount. I still have to make this bracket, but that's just another little thing that I've got to do. But make the bracket, get that on there, and then tap that hole to a 7/16 by 20, and we'll test fit this thing on the motorcycle and make sure that it fits. Okay, so we'll catch you later, guys.